pain and suffering, and then crying to Jordan about it. I lay on this couch that we're sitting on, and it's like my therapy session of all the things that are going wrong.
Yep, I'm recording as well.
It works.
Well, we're Doom Productions. We make movies on YouTube for free, and we also make behind the scenes content. But I'm Ethan, and on Video Carnage, I had a small cameo role, but I mostly worked as the cinematographer on set.
Yeah, I'm Jordan. I wrote, directed, edited, scored, acted in. I did everything on Video Carnage. No, I did a lot of stuff on Video Carnage, but I directed it. That's the main thing.
And what is that kind of relationship between you guys and dynamic between you guys where you both are kind of representations of the Doom Productions name?
Terrible.
Terrible?
No.
It's awful. No, it's a lot of fun, honestly. We work very differently from each other. Jordan is definitely the writer of the two of us. He's really good at dissecting story, and I'd say also you're just a bit more thoughtful, I guess, in some, like you take time. I'm kind of very quick to like, let's do this, let's improv a movie real quick, it's gonna take just a day, it's no big deal. So we kind of balance each other out in a lot of ways, so the dynamic is great, honestly, because we kind of just complement each other. If I have writing problems, Jordan is very great about just like taking the time to work with it and have his great insights to help out. And then likewise, when we're on set or if we're shooting something, I think I do a pretty good job of helping out with the shooting and the kind of the technical side. And I'm definitely more of a gearhead, so it makes it great that I kind of have that technical lean. But yeah, it's really great. And for other, like, I'll let you talk in a second, but
Fun.
for I've noticed there are some groups in the folk filmmaking or truly independent filmmaking movement, however you want to call it, that there are duos, but all of them are so different from each other. I think that's a lot of fun too. Like, all the groups are kind of these weird, like, of the duos, they're all the dynamics are very different. I think it's kind of fun to see. Yeah.
Well, I'll just say that we've been working together since like 2013, really.
Yeah.
2012 actually. So we just have a shorthand, and we know each other really well, and that makes working together a lot easier than if like I meet a random guy from my film class and like, hey, can we make this? And then if he has different sensibilities, I might disagree, we might butt heads or whatever, but it's like, it's always better just to work with your friends, I think. I mean, even a great day on set when you're working with a friend versus a great day working with a random kind of cinematographer is always a whole lot better, in my opinion.
And the worst days are at least a little bit better when it's with your friends than with someone you don't know.
Because you suffer together.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. And you guys, your recent film, Video Carnage, actually, that's the most recent Doom Productions. And like the response to it has been incredible. And I just want to kind of talk about that film for a bit. What was the inception of that Video Carnage idea?
We convert videotapes like the main character in the movie. And we were working on a job last fall. We had a bunch of tapes. We had like 70 tapes we had to convert.
A ton.
Yeah, it was a lot of tapes.
And you found a murder.
and we solved the mystery.
It's a documentary.
And well, I think we were watching security footage on one of them, and I was like, it would be really crazy if we just found like a murder or like something really incriminating on camera. Like, what would we do after that? Yeah. And that was really the idea of the whole thing.
Yeah. And on your previous films, you guys pretty much just had yourselves as the actors, and you didn't have a lot of other people. And even on Video Carnage, like, Jordan is pretty much the main character, but you guys have a lot more actors in the film, like a few at least, more than none, which is above the average. So how was working with the different people, especially at a feature length? It can be a bit like difficult managing schedules and stuff. So how was that whole experience?
Yeah, I mean, it was a lot of fun for us getting to work with our friends, and these were people who we had worked with many times before. Travis and May were both people that have a long history with. Like, we've known I mean, I feel like we've known them both for almost equal lengths of time.
Yeah, I think
Like,
we've known Travis just a little bit longer, 1 or
Yeah.
2 years longer.
Yeah.
But we've known him for each about since 2009,
yeah,
maybe
yeah,
2010.
something like that.
Yeah.
But we have a long history working with them, and they've done mostly shorts with us. But the way we kind of shot their scenes, and the way we broke down the schedule, they only really filmed with us for like 5 days total each.
Yeah.
So it kind of felt, to them, it felt like they were just shooting another short film with us, even though we were shooting tons of stuff
Yeah.
alongside that for the rest of the movie. So that stuff, I think their perspective is like, it felt like just another kind of short they were working on with us.
And with the other people who were in smaller roles, so Bellamy, we met her, and she was, I mean, she reached out to us and was like, hey, I like your stuff, could I be in something?
Yeah.
And we're like, yeah, all the roles are kind of filled, but there's a tiny little thing.
Yeah.
And then the voices roles were just friends where we were like, hey, do you want to be in a movie? So we have Caleb Robinson and Nathan Cash from RC Films, and then my buddy Josh Samuel, who I met on Twitter a few years ago. So yeah, it was just fun to get to work with friends again. Just going back to that.
Yeah, awesome. How long was the shoot, and like how was the whole shooting experience?
Too long.
Yeah.
Too long of a shoot.
I think we filmed March 8th. We filmed the videotape. If you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. We filmed that tape on March 8th. I think we started shooting. Let's see. I think on the 21st of March was when actual production started. And I don't think we wrapped until May 10th, 11th, sometime around there. Do you have an idea?
I think it was the 12th.
The 12th.
Yeah, the 12th, because
yeah.
then we had Army of the Dead the next day.
Yeah. Oh, that was so great.
That was a good wrap up.
Yeah, good celebration.
Good reward.
Yeah. So for us, that's a really long time because we like to work quickly.
Yeah.
Because we just get burnt out really easily.
Yeah. So a month is like our ideal shooting schedule.
At the very most.
At the very most.
This went on for 2 months, and that was just like, oh.
October was perfect because that was 15 days of shooting and editing, and it was out. That was like,
It was
couldn't
shot,
have been better.
edited, done, ready to go. Yeah.
Well, what during October? I'm assuming because you filmed it so fast, you guys must have like learned some lessons that helped you out with the video Carnage production. And like, what lessons did you learn from October that translated to this new project?
Having it storyboarded, which is something we didn't do on Video Carnage.
Yeah. No. Yes. Let me see if I have. You know what? Yeah. Let me get my October storyboards.
We're getting props already. What camera stuff?
Well, didn't you learn any camera stuff on October?
I don't know. Well, we got the storyboards right here. Let's do this first. Let's finish this thought.
Yeah. So, I guess I'll show it to the camera. These are my storyboards for October. So it's everything, like boarded out with
just a
all the
comic book.
lines. It's a comic book of the movie.
Yeah.
And this is the first time that I did this on a feature film, and it was so helpful. And I went into Video Carnage wanting to do it, but I couldn't do it, and so I felt like completely naked and alone and scared. And that made things stressful.
Yeah.
But we learned that on October. But another thing that we learned was the dubbing, because we dubbed the audio. Every single line in October is dubbed, and that was a case of we were filming, and I was like, oh, this audio sucks. And then I just dubbed it, and I was like, oh, this sounds so much better.
And we were dealing with your family being around because we were shooting, like we had set up the room, covered all the windows in foil so it looked like night. But his family was just out and about during the day doing their thing, and we couldn't really control how loud they were being. So it was like out of necessity that we were like, either we're filming all-nighters for the rest of the month, or we're gonna shoot during the day and dub the movie. So that's when we started really leaning on dubbing and making it like just a normal part of our workflow.
Yeah. And again, with Video Carnage, that was something that had we shot the movie in a couple of weeks like we wanted to, I would have had a whole month just to work on the sound. But then by the time we wrapped, I was like, I'm done. I'm out. I'm just going to work on the sound for a week, and I'll call it good.
Yeah.
So another case of something we loved on October, but didn't really get the chance to do on Video Carnage. But whatever. We'll learn that for the next time. So now we know how to do it better.
Yeah. And what lessons do you think you learned on Video Carnage that are going to translate to the next one? I guess like the biggest, I think, learning like experience would have probably been the dubbing, since like it's such like a big part of the movie. Like pretty much everything is dubbed, right?
Yeah, well, for Video Carnage, like 90% dubbed, because there are some scenes where we chose the audio for the performance that we had recorded on, but there were some days where we didn't really record on set. It was just the camera audio, but we didn't have like a shotgun mic on or anything. It was just.
I would say the biggest thing I learned sound-wise in Video Carnage was, even if you're going to dub the movie, have them wear a mic still, because we didn't mic anything, because we're like, oh yeah, we'll just dub it. But even if you think you might use the audio, even if you are sure you're going to dub it, just still put a mic on the actors and everything, because that would have made a lot of the audio problems a whole lot less noticeable, I think, on Video Carnage. But sound-wise, that was one thing. Schedule-wise, I think...
we could change about the schedule.
Yeah, there's not much we could change about the schedule. I just learned that I hate scheduling again. That's what I learned.
Of course.
Which we learn pretty much every production, but you know.
Yeah. But this is like your longest movie as well, so it kind of like it's pretty much like it's long enough for like anyone to like not complain about it being too short, you know? Like I feel like with a lot of folk films, people are like, oh, is this like, you know, this isn't like actually a feature. Like, oh, like for my film, like sometimes I'm in a conversation and people are like, oh yeah, I loved your short film. And I'm like, yeah man. But yeah, like you guys made like a really like long movie, and like from what I hear, the script was even longer and you had to edit it down, right? So like that must have been a whole new thing in terms of managing the schedules for such a long piece compared to like the hour-long stuff you guys have done before, you know?
Yeah, it was pretty crazy, because the script was like, every scene, there's a couple of scenes that are missing from the movie, but every scene I think is like trimmed down, like all the fat is just cut out. And actually there's some stuff that when I was rewatching it after it was released, I was like, you know what, this could have been gone, like little moments here and there. But also at the same time, there's a lot of stuff where it is kind of drawn out intentionally. Like there's a lot of car driving stuff, or stuff where not much is going on. And could I cut it? Yeah, but I wanted it in there because I wanted that longer pace for certain scenes.
Yeah, definitely. And with like the YouTube kind of model, you can like we should take advantage of like, you know, basically doing whatever we want. Yeah. It's pretty good. So and like it's so like liberating not to have creative restrictions, but also it can be like, for me, a bit frustrating, because sometimes when you're editing you can get like so intensely focused in the like details of a project that you kind of forget the bigger picture. Did that happen to you guys?
Yes and no. I mean, so we edit while we shoot, or I guess the director edits while we shoot. So I was editing as we were shooting, and for this one in particular, it was like my wall was filled up with like an editing schedule with like, you know, the sound, the picture, the sound effects, and it was like, it's hard. And the easiest way that I went through it was honestly keeping a spreadsheet, like a Google spreadsheet, and just like a to-do list for each scene, and just going through like every single day. I'd wake up, I'd go through it chronologically and get done what I could get done, and then repeat the next day or after we're done shooting. So I think I get more lost in the amount of details rather than like getting lost within a scene. Because what trips me up is when I think, oh my gosh, I have to dub this scene, I have to get the sound for this scene, I have to film this scene, but I already have the sound effects for that scene, and it's like I get lost in that, rather than the other way around. For me, I don't know if you're any different or.
I mean, yeah, for me, editing is like kind of really fun. The last project that was really big that I worked on that had storyboards and everything is a project that hopefully is coming out this summer, actually. But it's but that one was just great because again we have storyboards. We're like very meticulous with how we storyboard, so we'll like you just have the whole movie there in front of you, so I can reference that. So I don't have a hard time really with the editing side of it. I usually kind of am pretty direct with knowing what I want, but again, going in and like when you have heavy sound effects or visual effects, like that's the kind of stuff that like that takes a while to like get done. That's when I kind of start to feel like, oh my gosh, the editing is a pain in the butt. But getting like the scenes initially assembled, that's like my favorite thing to do, outside of just shooting the movie. The further into the process I get, the more happy I am.
Yeah, you guys seem like, I feel like there's like, in the types of filmmakers that I see, there's some filmmakers that edit like on the page and like have like a pretty like specific, like they can see the movie pretty much. And I feel like with you guys, with your use of like aspect ratios, the very distinctive like kind of colors and style of each individual film, like I feel like you guys use every kind of visual trick to really show and give the viewer a specific experience, I guess.
Yeah, we try really hard to be conscious, and I mean, there's still so much we could do. I think a lot of ways we're still pretty surface level. Like we don't overdo it, I feel like, too much, or at least we try not to. But a show that's great and does what we wish we could do is Legion, and it's the show on Fox or FX on FX, and
it's on Hulu.
Yeah,
here I don't know where else streaming internationally.
Check that out. That show is like, wow, like
that's
a good show, but like it's even better as a filmmaker to watch that show. Like anyone could get into it, but dang, that show has every possible thing you could do, and so like that's the golden standard for us, I think.
Yeah.
Damn, Legion. I think I've seen like a few episodes like here and there, but I don't think I've actually like gone and watched it, you know?
Just do it.
Is it still running?
No, it's only 3 seasons long. We actually just went through it recently, so we just watched a season a day.
I had to show him because I was like, you're gonna watch this for your next movie.
Yeah, no. If you want to get a sneak peek of what the vibe of some of the next Doom production stuff is gonna look like, watch Legion.
Yeah.
Yeah. I definitely see that, like with it's so interesting to like now, like having Letterboxd, for example, I'm like tracking down all the films I'm watching, and it's so clear like the inspirations to the stuff that I'm making, which aren't like conscious. It's like very subconscious to me, at least.
Yeah.
And like it's crazy how like you watch a movie and like it just like stays in your head, and then a week later you have like an idea that like is deeply related to that film, but you don't like really make that relation in your mind.
Oh yeah, no. When I've been watching some stuff, and I'm like, oh man, I want to steal from this so bad, but like doesn't fit what I'm working on right now, so I like have to like let it go or stuff. But I just watched The Double not too long ago, and that one was like, oh, I want to use some of this, but I'll save it for another project.
Yeah, I have a list of like things that I want to steal from movies. I literally have a list, and I'm gonna check them all off slowly. It's like one of my motivations.
That reminds me, I don't know if you remember. I mean, you definitely remember this.
Yeah.
The first day of production was the weekend after Zack Snyder's Justice League came out.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
And I watched that 6 times that weekend. I didn't want to film it all. All I wanted to do was watch Justice League again and again. And because I had to film, I was like, what if we just made a superhero movie instead? It was so hard trying to just get the energy to get rolling because I was so excited about seeing Justice League.
In the scenes of Video Carnage, when Jordan is sitting at the table with putting like at his laptop, you might notice the light shifting a little bit. That's because Zack Snyder's Justice League was playing on the TV right next to us the whole time we were filming. Yeah. And once it would stop, we would just hit and play it again, and it was just on in the background the whole time we were shooting in Jordan's room. Yep. So that
amazing.
We used it as some of our lighting. Actually, it's pretty great. But yeah.
It's like in the future, people are gonna like look at the film and like decode it for like secret messaging. Like the film is about Justice League.
Yeah,
yes.
No, this whole thing is just a superhero origin story.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah. So I want to get back to the actors and working with actors, because it's something that like I am not particularly confident in, and I feel like it's something that's holding me back from like, you know, working with people, because it's such like a big thing to me. Well, when I like ask someone to like help out with a film, like it just seems like a huge burden. Like even people watching my film for like an hour feels like, oh my god, that's like a huge thing for me. Like you spend an hour of your time watching something I just made, right? So like what is the process of you guys finding the right actor and like dealing with them on set and like getting that right performance from them? Because I was quite impressed by the performances in Video Carnage all through and through.
Thanks. Find your friends. That's really what, like, we've really only worked with 2 professional actors, I think, like people who are trained, really. Everyone's just a friend, though. And even the professional actors were just friends.
Yeah.
And I think the best advice I could say for working with actors is just communicate. Be really clear and simple. I think nothing can ruin an actor's vibe or like what their mood for the scene is, like giving them overly complicated dialogue. You don't really need to say, like, the way I put it is, like, sit down with them and talk with them about the characters beforehand. Like, talk about the motivations, talk about their background, talk about, what's going on through their head, analyzing each scene, each line. Do that before you go to set. Then when you're on set, keep it just very clear, direct. Hey, could you be a little louder here? Say this word like this. Or, be quieter, tone it back. All those kind of specific directions. Just give that to them then. And, like, keep it simple. And just be communicative. Communicative. I can't pronounce the word.
Communicate well.
Communicate well with them. And that's really the key, because, actors are humans too, I think. So just treat them like a human being. Like, just think what would help you and try to help them out that way.
And when we write a role, we usually have someone in mind for it. Like, we knew that we wanted May to play Sam in this movie, and we just started writing, or you put that role together for May. And if they said no, that would have sucked and we would have found someone else. But that was the person we had in mind for it. So we just wrote it for them. And then from there, like, May, once they got the script, took it their own direction and was able to bring more to it. We actually ended up doing rewrites for the movie, restructuring the whole movie, because they had brought just a whole lot of extra ideas that we were like, that's so much better than what we had. So we really like our actors to own the movie as much as we own it. So we take their opinions really heavily into account too. Yeah.
Talking about rewrites, I know that you guys had like a huge rewrite in this. I just was wondering, like, what caused that? Like, what was the catalyst to the rewrite, and how was that process of rewriting it and kind of rediscovering the film?
It was really meeting with May, because for a couple weeks beforehand, maybe it was the week beforehand, we met with Travis, who played Vincent, and we met with May. And after meeting with both of them, they both had notes, but May was kind of saying things that I kind of had in the back of my mind, like things I wasn't really happy with the script, like the ending and certain character moments. And then when May was like, yeah, I've been feeling this, I was like, that's what I've been feeling. I'm just going to rewrite it in a week. And so that's what happened, honestly. Just meeting with them, being like, okay, I guess, yeah, should rewrite it. And I did. And yeah.
So what changed about the script? Like, what were the changes?
I think the biggest change was the Sam character. In the original version, Sam had no arc. Mike was the main character. Mike was the one who kind of goes through a similar arc as Sam in the video Carnage as you see it, where Mike is kind of depressed and lonely and wants to do something with his life, and he finds kind of this meaning and purpose. And it kind of had a cheesy ending and wrap up where the low point, well, I don't want to spoil it for anyone who hasn't seen it, but like the low point was very cheesy and typical Hollywood kind of boring wrap up. But then in the new version, Sam became kind of the hero by the end of the movie, and Sam has an arc that you see. That arc wasn't in the original script whatsoever. So I think that's the biggest thing, was just giving Sam a personality and a purpose and an arc, really.
Yeah, awesome. And as like writers, what are your process as writers?
Pain and suffering, and then crying to Jordan about it. I lay on this couch that we're sitting on, and it's like my therapy session of all the things that are going wrong, and then Jordan fixes it usually.
my process is enjoyment and joy and just having fun. If you go
The
on our
duality
channel,
of man. Duality of Doom Productions.
I have a bunch of screenwriting videos. I need to get, after we wrap up with like the Video Carnage promotion, I'll get back into doing more, but I kind of talk about my process where it's I write a beat sheet, which is like, you know, the main beats of your story. I do an outline, which is a little bit more fleshed out. Then I do a scriptment, which is pretty much your script minus the dialogue. I'll write the dialogue in red and say, like, Sam and Mike talk about the videotape. And that's what the dialogue is. And then I'll do the script, which is just filling in the dialogue. So it's kind of a 4-step process. And then I'll repeat that for each draft I do, or sometimes I'll skip certain steps for different movies. I think Video Carnage, I wrote the beat sheet, outline, and then script. I think that's how I did. I don't think there was a script in, but that's kind of my process for it all.
Yeah. You guys, so Jordan, you seem like so organized. Just like I'm just very like in awe of this organization, having like, you know, going the step by step and everything, and during the editing have a schedule. Like I personally just kind of throw things at the blank page and see what happens. Or when I'm editing, like editing for me is like writing as well, where I'm just kind of experimenting on the go, trying out different things, and it's very like, I literally, like, if I'll have 5 minutes to spare, like, I have that program open, like, all day on the computer, and basically if I have 5 minutes to free 5 minutes, I'll just jump on and edit for, like, 5 minutes, and I'll get out, and that's my process. It's, like, literally, like, just sucking, like, it just sucks, like, all that, like, spare time where I would, like, you know, check social media or anything. It's editing, like, that becomes the, like, undercurrent of my life.
Yeah.
While making a movie. But yeah, you guys, like, I love editing. Like, editing is, like, I'm not editing right now because I'm writing, and, like, editing is, like, I truly, like, enjoy it, like, so much. Like, it's so fun. It's, like, I feel like I'm painting the painting, you know? Like, what, I feel like with filmmakers, they have, like, some people feel like they're making, or, like, they're putting things together while they're filming it. And then some people think that they're like gathering materials, and then they're gonna like make it during the edit. So like, what type of filmmakers are you in that way?
I like I said, I like to storyboard everything. So really, I have the script, then I have my book, and this is like my shopping list right here, and I'm just getting this. And that way, when I go into editing, this is all the editing that I've already done the edit. I've already pre-visualized the movie. Oh my gosh, look at that. I'm looking at the thing from October when Pumpkin sacrifices himself. And it looks pretty much how it turns out in the movie. Like, it looks like shot for shot similar. And so editing for me is like really, if I do all this work, it's really fun, because then I'm just going in, I've done the hard work here, and then I get to play around and see, let's see if anything else would work. Let's see what the sound would sound like, or the visuals if I do this thing. So yeah, I love editing.
And how about on, well, it must have been harder on Video Carnage, I'm assuming, then, because you didn't have that storyboard.
Yeah, it was incredibly difficult. The montages were the hardest to edit, because I like to storyboard all that stuff, and I like to know what's happening. But on that, I literally went in blind. So on the day, we were just shooting random stuff.
We shot a lot. Yeah,
there's so much footage that is just like unseen, because it was just random stuff for montages that I was like, I think we might use this, but I'm not sure.
We reshot a lot of it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the royal sequence and the bad guy sequence were the hardest for me to edit, because it was like, what's happening? But it was fun. Yeah, once it all came together.
What was the choice behind the music? Because it's very like, it like fits in a weird way, even though the tone of the film is not like pop, in my opinion. Like, it's not very like, but it just fits. It just works really well. So what was the choice behind that?
Yeah, for Royals, it was I wanted to open the movie with like, the movie's about being young in America. Well, I guess all over the world too, but just like for us, I felt like it was very like young kind of Americans right now in this last year, what it's like. So I wanted to choose a song that I thought one fit
Wait 1 second.
Oh yeah, go for it.
Okay. My camera just fell down.
Oh no.
It's fine. It's just like it has the 30-minute recording thing.
Oh.
So I was pressing it and then just, but anyways, it's fine.
It's trying to stop us.
Yeah. So the American thing,
So
continue. Sorry.
no, you're good. Royals was picked because I wanted to pick a song that was very like typical. Well, one that I thought fit the tone of the movie, and was a song that everybody knew, and a song that everybody liked in our age group. And there's not anybody. I mean, I've never met anyone who doesn't like Lord or who doesn't like Royals, and it felt like it could be like kind of like this youthful anthem in a way, for like everybody our age has an opinion and a memory with that song. They bring that to the movie. Like, oh my gosh, that takes me back to this. Kind of fills you with a little bit of nostalgia. So that was the reason behind that. The Billie Eilish thing came about because. Sorry, I'm debating how much. I'm being careful how much I say. Let's just say I saw a joke video from RC Films that they sent us, that they showed it to us, and that song was in it, and I was like, huh. Because Bad Guy was a song I considered putting in the movie, but I kind of disregarded it. And then after they showed me that video with the song in it, I was like, I'm going to try it for real. And that's why it's in there. And it kind of fits too, like, because it's all about, you know, if you're going to be a bad guy, I'm going to be a bad guy. And that's kind of what the characters are doing. But it's also really meta because Travis, who plays Vincent, is always a bad guy in our movies. So it was kind of like, look, it's the bad guy again.
Yeah.
And then the Dua Lipa song just came about. I needed something that sounded really happy in that moment. And that was like, and I had just kind of discovered her record. And I was listening to it and I was trying to pick a song. And I was like, you know what? This is a really popular song. It makes me feel happy. I'll put that in there. And I actually tried to, I replicated it all in GarageBand too. Like I took everything and I replicated it, but changed it just a little bit. So it was a little bit different. So I could still like, it was still technically like original. And it just didn't hit as good. It wasn't as, didn't work as well. So I was like, forget it. I'll just put Dua Lipa in there. I'm sure she won't be upset,
Yeah, because previously I'm pretty sure like you guys didn't use copyrighted music, right?
It's been several years since we've done that, really.
Yeah. I remember in some of the Filmmaker hangouts, I remember you guys like, there was a certain point, and after that you didn't use like other people's music.
Yeah.
Or
it's cool.
Yeah.
We appreciate it's cool that we got to do it, and we for the right project I would see us doing it again, but it'd have to be the right thing. Like Video Carnage works so well with it, but some of the next projects we have, they don't need it, so they won't have it. And there also is that balance of do you want to own your thing, your movie fully, or do you want to have that compromise of having your movie made and have it hit really hard with these great songs, but at the same time you don't own the movie after that point necessarily. It's tainted. But
definitely.
And that's just a balance, and we were like, no, Video Carnage is gonna be better with the song, so it was like, yeah, we'll use it. Wasn't a crazy thing, but
I'm not planning on doing it again, honestly.
Yeah.
It would have to be the right song for the right movie, but I'm just assuming I'm probably not gonna do that anytime soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough. And kind of the big question, what does Video Carnage mean to you guys? What place does it hold in your heart, Because I feel like for every filmmaker, a film is very unique, and it's a part of them almost, right? So what does Video Carnage mean to you guys?
Pain. 2 months of pain. Honestly, no, I'm not joking. It really, when I think about now the on-set days were the most fun I've ever had, but the moments in between for 2 months of just constant stress, that's kind of what I think about when I think about making the movie. And even the end product, it's not upset or anything, but it's kind of I see a rushed piece of work, which is fine, because I think ultimately the way I work is like, you know, if I don't nail something, it's okay. Like, that's no big deal. I'll move on to the next thing and I'll take what I've learned onto the next project. And that's kind of how I function. But for me, I know that like, it's kind of like that. I see it and I'm like, could have done that better. Could have done that better. Oh well, on the next time. So, I'll have to sit down and watch it again, like for real. Because we just did the commentary actually, but we were talking through the whole thing. But yeah, for me, I feel like I have to see it again and like really kind of sit with it. But I guess we'll see. But I think, honestly, I just think of stress and I think of pain when I think of the movie. But I feel so happy though that people have been enjoying it and that it's reached so many people. I do feel I feel very grateful for that.
Yeah, I mean, how we function again is like the director is the one who takes on the majority of the work. So I wasn't around for much of the editing process apart from when Jordan would show me a cut or a sequence that he would want revisions on or just a note from. So I have a different experience where I'm really happy with that movie, and I think it's some of my best work as like a cinematographer. That was something I think if we finally like, because we've been building up since 2019. That's when we shot Doom on the Doorstep, right? 2019? Yeah. So 2019 we shot Doom on the Doorstep, which was the first movie where it has kind of, I think, our signature doomed look. And from there it's kind of been like trying to perfect that. And I think October had like, I was getting close there. So Video Carnage was like, okay, this is it. Like this is the doomed look. And so I'm really proud of it for that. And kind of, yeah, it was just a good experience. Again, the on-set stuff was great. And the stress of just like it taking a while, that was probably the hardest part for me, but it was like, yeah, just a really great time. But yeah,
everybody did amazing work on the movie, and I'm super happy for everyone like working on it and everything. Because yeah, I think May's performance is great. Travis's is great.
Yeah. I think getting to the fact that we had people like Travis and May on the production was the best thing, because like it had been just us for 2020, like working on projects on our own. So coming into this year, like we have cast, like even though it's just 3 more people aside from us, like that still felt like a really big deal. So yeah, for sure. I'm gonna tell you guys what it means to me. Okay? I'd love to hear
Perfect.
this. Yes.
So I think like, you know, of course, so like in 2020 and during all this like stuff, it's been kind of very easy to be stuck in like negative cycles, I guess, and like just cycles of looking at life in like a negative way. And to me it's all about like getting through that and past that by making something, even though like, or like doing something, even though doing that thing might be painful. And I feel like there's a very like meta thing where you guys were in quarantine and you guys made this and it was painful, but like I'm sure you guys are glad that you did it, you know? And that's kind of what it meant to me. Like even when I watched it for the first time, like I feel like the themes of the films of like getting stuck in like a rut and not being able to move past that, and that's why I think it resonates so much, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what it means to me.
No, that's great. No, thank you for sharing that. I think it definitely, I think that's I would say Sam is like the hero and their arc is like the most important part of like the movie, is you just can't give up. And that's kind of, I think that's the message of the movie. But that's cool if anybody else has another interpretation. But
yeah, it's been fun hearing other people's like reads on the movie. That's some of our favorite comment stuff is like, just like interpretations or pointing out things that we didn't even necessarily intend, but people see and put their own meaning into, and that stuff's really great. That's my favorite part of one of our releases, is seeing people's thoughts that are just completely different from ours. And I think those are just as valid as anything we come up with, if not more so. So. Yeah.
And alongside like the films that you guys do, you guys also make like video content, I guess, like kind of teaching filmmaking. And I've always loved when filmmaking channels and people who are making films give like video tutorials, because it's very like rare that the people that you see tutorials from online are actually making things that you enjoy and you're like actually interested in, I guess. And it like adds this whole like reliability to, okay, this guy's giving advice on how to outline a screenplay, and they've written a screenplay that I really enjoy. So like, that's I want to like thank you guys for making this stuff, because like as for me as a filmmaker, it's like really helpful as well. And what's your like mindset going into these kind of educational videos?
Well, thank you for enjoying them.
Yeah.
You're the reason we keep making them.
Me specifically.
We're yes. I mean, we're both educators. We've worked in schools and stuff, and we just like teaching people. And I think it's kind of your responsibility as a filmmaker to teach the next generation, or to teach the people who are following in your footsteps. Make it easier for them, or share with them your tips and tricks and everything. I mean, for us, we had like DVD extras, and then we had like Film Ride, Indie Mogul, stuff like that.
Freddie Wong, that era. Yeah.
But there's no one really doing that today. I mean, of course,
Yeah.
Indie Mogul's still doing stuff, Film Ride's still doing stuff, but they're kind of like, they've evolved into a different sphere than what it was, 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So, for the true beginners, for the people who start out as no budget, I mean, every filmmaker starts out as a no budget filmmaker in the very beginning. So we thought it'd be great to make some content for those folks, give them some tips and tricks that would hopefully help them and make them into better filmmakers than we'll ever be.
Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. And let's start like kind of talking about what's up next. Jordan, I know that there's an animated project coming up.
Oh.
Give us some kind of hints. I know this. I've done my research.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm gonna break your. Because this, I'm not joking. This is the worst day of my life, and during like since the COVID stuff and the quarantine.
Yeah.
I was so sad.
This day?
Well, no. I'll tell you about it. Okay. The day after, I think it was the weekend after Video Carnage came out. Right. So I've been working on this animated feature film for months and everything.
During Video Carnage.
During Video Carnage. So if I'm not filming, if I've finished all my tasks, I sit down at my computer and I animate for 8+ hours, right? So I had a schedule I was sticking to, and because Video Carnage took so long, I was like, okay, I need to readjust my schedule. So I'll just kind of hold off on a little bit for the last couple of weeks so I could wrap up Video Carnage, and I can, that way I can dedicate all my time to this animated project. And so the day, I think it was the Sunday after Video Carnage wrapped, it was released that Sunday, I sat down, I looked at the calendar, looked at all the shots I needed, looked at what I'd done, and I boarded it, and I was like, I was aiming for a release date of Halloween, right? Because it's a Halloween movie. And it was physically impossible for me to finish it in time for Halloween. And it would have been a huge stretch to finish it before the end of the year. And so I just sat in my bed and I did nothing, and I was just like mourning the loss of this project. But ultimately, so the animated film is not happening this year. What I'm doing instead is I'm converting it to a live action movie with animated sequences throughout. Because I know there's I can do a solid like 10-15 minutes of animation peppered throughout this movie. So that's what it's evolved to this year. Unfortunately, I wish it could have been fully animated, but Video Carnage, it honestly just took way too much longer than I thought, and I just fell way behind schedule. So that's what's happening for me. Sorry to disappoint any animated fans, but I will make a feature-length animated film one day. I just have to work up to that.
Yeah, awesome. And besides the animated film, like what's next?
So we got a feature film that we're co-creating with someone that we're bringing on, a buddy of ours who is a filmmaker about to go to film school. We've convinced him that he needs to make a movie before he goes to film school. So in August he leaves. So before then we're shooting a feature with him in July, and that's going to be a ton of fun.
It's a comedy.
So we're going to lighten up the mood a little bit. And then after that, I have a feature that I'm working on. Jordan's sisters are being really loud.
It's all right.
And then I have a feature that I'm working on in August that is going to be kind of my big feature of the year. So we're working on writing that right now. So I'm in a lot of pain, but hopefully we rip off that Band-Aid before the end of June, and then I can start working on storyboarding, which is going to be a lot more fun.
Yeah, awesome. And how let's do like a recommendations round. I've never done this, but how about you guys like recommend a film or something, just any kind of piece of media besides Legion. Guys, watch Legion if you haven't already, but besides Legion,
please do.
What else shall people watch?
Okay, this is a documentary that I just saw last night called The Donut King. So, in the 70s, after the Khmer Rouge kind of wiped out a bunch of Cambodia, Cambodians came here. My family's Cambodian. And so they came here, and a lot of them settled in LA, where this guy named Ted Noy, he sponsored a bunch of families to come over. He's Cambodian, and he started this donut empire in California. And it's a really fascinating story, and really good watch. And I would love if more people saw it. And another one, because I'm going to just add one more there, is In the Life of Music. It's this independent movie about this Cambodian woman who goes back to her home after many years. And there's a theme there. But these are really important movies to me that I would want more people to see of. So, In the Life of Music and The Donut King. Very, very good.
And we just recently rewatched, I guess, a movie from RC Films called Seventh, which is criminally underrated in the indie film, folk film space. It is one of the coolest movies out there, I think. And it's like, don't watch the trailer, don't watch anything, just go in and you will be so happy. Like, it's such a great movie. And if you like the VHS vibe of Video Carnage, this movie is going to be your new favorite thing. This is going to make Video Carnage look terrible. So, check out Seven.
Yeah, I watched the Spider-Man film, but...
Wait, there's one more.
Is there?
There's one more.
What is it?
It's a movie. I'm not sure if you all have seen... I'm not sure if you've heard of this. It's this little experimental documentary. It's called The Last Day of Childhood. I just recorded an intro for that one on the Folk Filmmaker playlist.
That's a good point.
That one is also criminally underseen, I think. So if you
Thank
guys
you.
haven't seen that, check it out. Have you heard of this one?
Yeah. I think I have, but there's some Indian dude made it.
I think you'd like it, so you should check it out.
Yeah, his room kind of seems like mine as well.
You could make like a sequel to it, even. You know, talk to the filmmaker
Dude,
about that.
I have a sequel.
Yes,
in the works.
You heard it here first, folks.
Have it. It's the sequel.
Yes, it's
the
real.
Outline.
That's amazing.
Yeah, but
it's
gonna
come
out like in a long time. it's gonna come out like in like years. So it's gonna be a while. Yeah, so I would recommend October, because that's my favorite Doom Productions films. It has this like really like beautiful Halloween vibe, like Halloween as in the day, and it just feels very like something beautiful about it. I can't even describe it, you know, like it's just like I can't. It's just watch it and you'll probably really enjoy it, because I definitely did. And yeah, Doom Productions. Let's talk about where people can find you and what's up with you guys.
Yeah, we're on all social media platforms pretty much. It's at Doomed Pro or at Doom Productions. We're on Twitter, Instagram, all that. You'll find us. We're pretty easy to get a hold of. But then we're also we're on YouTube. That's our home. That's our main base. We make, like I said, educational stuff. We make movies every now and again, so it's a good time. Come subscribe.
I've never seen a diamond in the flesh.
Sweet.
Nice.
Patty, do we got any VHS tapes? I think we'll just call you back when we find them, but we'll see what we got.